Hey all, so I'm using a headset. I'm not sure how the mic is, so I might sound like I'm coming to you from the end of a long tin can, but we'll see. So, this lecture is about AI. Specifically, it's about how to use AI as a tool for analysis without letting it do your thinking for you. I know that many of you are using ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini for everything. And I know that some of you are skeptical about whether AI belongs in the academic world at all. You're concerned about environmental impacts or economic impacts, and all of those concerns are real. But here's the reality. AI is a tool. It is a tool that is being used in communication frequently. And like any tool, it can be used well or it can be used badly. This lecture is about using it well. Pattern detection, hypothesis generation, and interpretation. The stuff that AI is actually good at. The stuff that you're probably going to have to do with it when you get out into the, and a quote, real world, right? We're also going to talk about what A is not good at, what AI gets wrong, how AI lies to you, and how to catch it before it embarrasses you. So let me be really clear. AI should not be doing your analysis. You are doing your analysis, and AI is helping. Look at these two columns. On the left, what AI is good at. On the right, what you're good at. AI is good at processing large volumes of text, identifying patterns across data, categorizing and coding content, generating hypotheses to test, and summarizing complex information. These are things that would take you hours, and AI does it in seconds. On the right is what you're good at, or what you're going to be good at, right? Um, Understanding business context. You are the person who understands your brand. Judging strategic relevance. Again, you're the person who understands your brand. Catching errors and nonsense, because AI also sometimes generates errors and nonsense. Making final recommendations, and explaining the why to stakeholders. These are things that AI cannot do well, no matter how confident it sounds. And AI sounds so confident when you ask it to do stuff. But you want AI to do the stuff in the left-hand column so you have more time and energy and brain power to do the stuff on the right-hand column. AI should allow you to do more and to do better work. AI handles tedious pattern finding, you handle the strategic thinking. Here's the workflow I want you to follow. 5 steps. Notice how they alternate between you and AI. Step 1, feed the data in. That's you. You give AI all your data, your exports, your comments, your metrics, by your comments, the comments that you're analyzing, right? You decide what to share. Step 2, ask. This is you plus AI. Prompt AI to find patterns or test hypotheses. Step 3, verify. This is you. You check what AI said against your actual data. This is really critical because if AI is lying to you, you need to catch it or you will look like an idiot. Step 4, synthesize. You and AI, partners again, you ask AI to help connect the patterns that it's finding that you verified into a bigger picture. Step 5, interpret. That's all you. You add the strategic meaning. You make the recommendations and you take responsibility for the final analysis. See the note at the bottom? AI should never work alone. Every step has a human verification. That is not optional. So what do you feed AI? You need useful data. good data. Garbage in, garbage out. If you give AI bad input, you get bad output. So what do you include? CSV exports, that's Excel, comma something value, anyhow. CSV exports from Talkwalker or FanPage Karma. Copied numbers from Failings. Copied comments from the platforms themselves. Other engagement metrics, sentiment scores, whatever it is that you have collected. Then you need to give it context. Brand names, the industry, the time period. What are you comparing? Any relevant events during your collection period. AI doesn't know any of this unless you tell it. Then you give it your objectives, the business and communication objectives from Module 2. This helps AI understand what matters. You want to ask, what patterns do you want identified? Excuse me, AI wants to know. What patterns do you want identified? What hypotheses do you want tested? The more specific that you are, the more useful AI's response will be. Don't just dump everything and say, analyze this. That is lazy prompting. And if you do that, you're going to get bad results. And I will see those bad results and I will grumble at you. And that's all I'll do. But if you give bad results to your boss, right, they may do more than grumble. So here's a framework for structuring your prompts. 5, plus I added another one, so 6 components. Role. You tell AI what role it is playing, what character it is. You say things like, you are an exceptional social media analyst helping me compare two brands. This frames the entire conversation. It also gives the AI a clue about what sort of data it needs to pull in from the outside. It needs to know what sort of rules that is applying to the data. Then you need to give it context, background information. I have, and I say insert number of weeks. It's 8 in the slide, I know. I doubt my online students get 8 weeks, but my face-to-face students should have 8 weeks at least of data from brand A and brand B in the sustainable jewelry space. Now AI knows what it's working with. Data, the actual information you want analyzed. Paste it or describe what you are providing. And then you give it the task. Analyze this data to identify patterns in engagement, sentiment, and content performance. You have to be specific about what you're asking for. You have to know what it is that you're asking for. And that's where your professional expertise comes in, because the more specific you are about your ask, the more specific the answer will be. And then you give it its format. How do you want the response structured? Present findings as key patterns, present differences between the brands, present anomalies. All of this will keep AI from rambling, and trust me, without it, it will ramble. I'm adding another onto this after I made the slide, and I'm not going back to remake the slide again, right? Um, I always tell AI to ask me questions if it needs clarification. It usually does ask me questions, and those questions usually improve the results. You do not need to use all 6 components every time, but the more you include, the better your results will be. Here we have a sample prompt for pattern detection, and AI is really good at finding patterns that are too complex or involve so much data that it would be very hard for humans to do. Look at the screen. It starts with context. I'm analyzing social media performance for 2 jewelry brands over 8 weeks. Then you provide the data. Here's my engagement data. Then you give it specific tasks. Which content types perform best? What patterns do you see in the posting time? What are the week over week trends? What are the differences between brands? And here's the key part. For each pattern you identify, note how confident you are based on sample size. That's asking AI to acknowledge that there is uncertainty. Small sample sizes increase uncertainty and make the results that you have much more unreliable. I'm going to be asking some of you to make some conclusions with very small sample sizes, and I get that. That's because we're practicing. But again, in the real world, you don't want AI finding a pattern based on 3 data points. 3 data points is not a pattern. That is noise. Here's another type of prompt. This one is testing a hypothesis that you already have. Notice the structure. You state your hypothesis clearly. Brand B's higher engagement rate is driven by their focus on educational content about sustainability, while Brand A focuses on more product-only posts. Then you provide the data and you ask AI to do 3 things. Evaluate whether the data supports or contradicts your hypothesis. Ask it to identify alternate explanations and ask it to note what additional data would strengthen or weaken the conclusion. That third part is important. You're not just asking AI to confirm what you already believe, right? You're asking it to challenge your hypothesis. This is a good analytical practice. If you only ask AI to support your hypothesis, it will. It will do it and tell you that you are the most brilliant analyst on the planet. That's because AI is built to be agreeable. You have to specifically ask for contradictory evidence. I make a point anytime I have a conclusion, or especially anytime AI is generating something for me, I ask it to tell me what the weaknesses are in that thing that it just generated. You really want to make sure that AI is not just being what we call sycophantic, i.e., trying to please you. You want to make sure that AI is giving you what is the truth. Here's another example. This one is for sentiment analysis on comments, right? You give AI a set of comments, in this case, 50 from brand A and 40 from brand B, and you ask for specific deliverables. Overall, the sentiment breakdown with percentages. Top themes in positive comments, top themes in negative comments, and repeated questions or concerns. You want a comparison between the brands. And then at the end, flag any comments where the sentiment is ambiguous or sarcastic. This is crucial because AI, all computers, are terrible at sarcasm. Someone writes, oh, great, another influencer ad. And AI might code that as positive because of the word great. You need AI to tell you when it's not sure. You also want to ask for themes, not just percentages. Ask for comparison. Ask AI to flag that uncertainty we talked about. These sorts of things make the output actually useful. Themes, comparisons, and flagging uncertainty. This could be the most important slide in the lecture. Verification. This is where people mess up. AI inherently sounds confident. It sounds like it knows what it's doing. It always sounds confident, and it will tell you things with complete certainty that are completely wrong. Students get caught all the time using AI for research papers and asking it for sources or telling it to use sources. AI will make up sources. If it can't find something, it makes it up because it's trying to please you. So you need to make sure that you are verifying that what AI says is true. Your job is to catch those hallucinations, or what we call them sometimes. I also sometimes call them flat out lies. So how do you verify? First, spot check categorizations. If AI says a comment is positive, go read it yourself, right? You don't have to do that for every comment. Check about 20% of what AI categorized. And if you see AI getting stuff wrong more than just occasionally, right? you probably have a problem. Cross-reference numbers. If AI says 30%, 35% negative sentiment, check against what TalkWalker says. Are they in the same ballpark? Third, test your edge cases. Look at the comments that AI flagged as ambiguous. Do you agree? Look at the ones it was most confident about. Do those seem right? And your fourth is a gut check. This is you. Does it make sense? If AI finds a pattern that contradicts everything you know about these brands, investigate. Maybe AI found something real, found something unique that you really want to highlight that is important to your analysis. Or, maybe it hallucinated something that it thought was cool. You have to check to make sure that those edge cases are real. So there are some really specific ways AI screws up. It misses sarcasm. I gave you the "oh great, another influencer" ad, right? It's got the word great in it. AI often codes that as positive. AI doesn't understand irony. So if you use an emoji ironically, AI is going to miss that, right? You need to look at the full comment context, not just the emoji. AI doesn't really always know industry jargon unless you've trained it on industry jargon, which I'm going to presume you haven't, right? This is fire in a beauty context. Well, AI may miss that, may miss the context that is good, right? AI might not know that. Snatched is a compliment. Basic is an insult. If your brands use niche language, and those are kind of stereotypes there, but there are always niche jargon that is used in almost any industry. Um, Tell AI about it, give it a little dictionary, or expect some mistakes. It will hallucinate patterns. It wants to find patterns for you. So if it doesn't have enough data, it will often, or I guess I'm going to say often, but sometimes it will claim it has found a trend. And when you look at the data, it's based on 3 data points. That is not a pattern that does not actually exist, or sometimes it just makes up the pattern entirely. AI will confidently describe patterns in random noise. Always check for sample size. Always check that any conclusions it comes to looks like what you would expect if you glance over the data. You don't have to do all the work, but make sure that there that is a possibility, that that's something that could be in this data. You should always check AI's work. Once you've verified your individual findings, you can ask AI to help you synthesize and connect the dots. AI is good at finding a bigger picture in patterns. Look at this prompt. It starts with your verified findings. Based on our analysis, we've established these findings, colon, and then you give it 3 findings. Given these patterns, what overarching story emerges about the differences between brand A and brand B's social media strategy? Those findings need to be things that you have already checked and confirmed before you ask it to do any synthesis for you. Because otherwise, it's taking bad findings and you're going to get bad synthesis. So you ask it to look for patterns, and then you ask, what are the 2 to 3 most important strategic implications for a brand trying to compete in this space? Now you're asking AI to see how everything connects. AI is good at pattern matching across multiple inputs, much better than we are. But remember, the AI synthesis gives you a starting point. You need to evaluate whether what you're saying makes sense and whether or not you agree with the strategic implications. Then we go to interpretation, the part that cannot be outsourced. It is your interpretation. They are your conclusions, and they have to be your recommendation. AI gives you the what, you provide the so what, and the now what. Look at this list. Only you can connect the findings to the client's specific business objectives. Only you can judge what is strategically important versus merely interesting. Only you can decide what recommendations are realistic for this particular organization with its, talent level, with its budget, right? Only you can explain the findings in a only you can explain the findings in a language that stakeholders will understand. And only you can take responsibility for the final analysis. You cannot say AI told me this. AI is like a very good free intern or maybe a research assistant. It's a very fast, very capable research assistant who sometimes, because it wants to take a nap in the closet, makes things up. You are the strategist. A strategist does not blame the research assistant when the strategy is wrong. If you're blaming your research assistant, um, then maybe you need not to be working as their boss. So this is our assignment 5.2, the AI analysis session, right? This is what I want for this. I want an annotated and notated transcript. You're going to copy your questions and the responses into a Word document. I can't accept the link this time because you need to annotate. You're going to annotate by adding comments, by using highlighting or bold, and adding some notes. Let me know if I need to turn on track changes if it's because it's going to be a Word document, right? Your annotations should flag prompts that worked well, prompts that didn't work well and need revision, moments where you verified your AI claims, and places where AI made errors, and insights that informed your analysis. Now, these instructions are on the assignment, so you don't have to write this down and you don't have to memorize it, but I'm kind of going over it. The second part is a reflection. And the reason I ask for a reflection is because I want you to take the time to gather your own thoughts about what patterns or insights did AI help you identify that you might have missed. Where did AI get things wrong? How did you catch it? How did you verify AI's claims against your actual data? And what is your final interpretation in your own words of what this analysis session revealed? You're going to use this session information in your comparative analysis draft. I am grading your thinking process, not AI's output quality. AI gives great output, no question. It'll sound awesome. It may not mean anything, but it'll sound awesome. So, a session where you push back on AI, where you catch mistakes, where you develop your own conclusions, is going to score higher than one where you just copy and paste everything AI says. Copying and pasting is not analysis, and it doesn't work. I mean, that's just it. Bottom line, it doesn't work. AI is not that good yet. We still need people in the loop. So here's ideas about what makes a good AI session. You have the strong session on the left, which are multiple rounds of prompts building on findings, clear verification steps that are documented, pushback when AI seems wrong. I want to see connection to module 2 objectives, and I want to see your own conclusions at the end. Week sessions are a single prompt. And this week session, by the way, is me giving you the worst possible case. I don't expect that anyone is going to do any of this or would even think about it. But remember, most of what you're going to do is end up somewhere in the middle. So you want to make sure that you're on the strong session side rather than the weak session side. So single prompts, no bueno. No verification, also not good. Copying and pasting AI conclusions, right? Calling them your own is just flat out academic dishonesty, but even copying and pasting them and attributing them means that you haven't really done the work to make sure that they're good. If there's no connection to project objectives, why do I care? And of course, you should never defend yourself saying, well, AI said this, without providing some interpretation. So let me leave you with a couple things, right? Overall, what I want to stress is that you need to have value added. You're the value added part of the process, right? Why am I paying you? I am paying you to come up with ideas that fit my brand. AI is a powerful analysis assistant, but you need to be the analyst. The thinking is yours, the conclusion is yours, and the responsibility is yours. Good prompts have structure, role context, data, task, format, and of course, some questions. Always verify is number 3. AI sounds confident even when it's wrong. Spot check, cross-reference, gut check. Do not skip this step. 4, AI finds patterns. You determine what they mean strategically. Pattern detection is not the same as strategic insight. 5, your transcript shows your thinking process, not just AI's answers. This is what I am grading. Now go have a conversation with your favorite AI chatbot about your data. Be curious, be skeptical, be the strategist I know you can be. And I will see you in Module 6.